Hi, I'm Jordan from Bulletproof BJJ.com, and in this video we're going to be addressing just one of many elements of posture that we'll be looking at in the future, both in these videos and on the website. In this video we're specifically looking at what's called the thoracic spine. And this is a big trouble area for a lot of people because many of us now work at jobs where we're sitting at desks all day, which put us into this posture. And then when someone becomes very involved in athletics, and this is not specific to BJJ, it happens soccer players, Olympic lifters, swimmers, gymnasts, we start becoming the posture of our sport. So I'm sitting at a desk all day doing this, and then I'm in a sport where I'm spending a decent amount of my time in this position as well. And so then I start to become this guy. Aside from not looking all that great, this also starts to cause a lot of neck and back and even shoulder and hip problems. So I want to have a tool that I can use to start pulling myself out of that position. And that's what I'm going to do here, is give you a couple of movements that you can do to start reversing that effect. And you can apply this as much as you want, as long as you don't feel like you're moving into pain, and you should start to develop a good sense of when you're overdoing something. Now, the thoracic spine, simply put, if you find the top of your shoulder blade and slide in, that's where it starts. And then if you find the bottom of your rib cage and slide in, that's where it ends. So we're possibly getting pulled into this forward flex position, and now we're going to start trying to pry ourselves back a little more into extension, hopefully to just end up in a good neutral posture. For this exercise, I'm going to use a foam roller. I want one that's fairly high density. The white ones, they're good for other things, but they tend to get squished pretty easily, and I want something that's going to allow me to really arc my spine cleanly over it. If you don't have a roller, they're pretty easy to find. Good ones you can pick up on the website through the Perform Better link or through the Trigger Point link, and that allows you to help support BulletproofBJJ.com. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get on the roller like this, and my hands can be anywhere. I tend to keep them across my chest like this, and so I am in kind of a forward flex position, because right now I'm not trying to arc back just yet. And I'm just going to walk with my feet to the top of the thoracic spine where I indicated, at the top of the shoulder blades, and then down to where I indicate the bottom was, around where the rib cage ends. I'm going to stay off my lower back for now, because for a lot of people, they're not stable enough and they can tweak something out, but there are other ways that I can get into that. And this should just feel kind of nice. So you should not feel any kind of discomfort with this. I'm just trying to get relaxed and loosen everything up. If you feel the back of your neck getting a little strained, I can just hold it with my hands like this to give it a little bit of support. Now, I might do that for a minute or two, even do a couple of sets if I feel like I'm pretty stiff. And I might also find a little tense spot, because I can kind of hunt vertebrae by vertebrae through the spine, and I might find like right there, that one keeps popping, that one's pretty tense, and just work specifically on that point. Next up, I'm going to now start working on increasing my actual thoracic extension. So the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to get the roller probably about halfway up that length of the thoracic. So simply put, it's kind of right between your shoulder blades, at the midpoint of the shoulder blade. Now as I'm here, the whole time I'm doing this, I'm keeping my butt on the floor. Especially if you're real stiff, you're probably going to find it automatically wants to come up, because your spine wants to stay locked in a straight line or forward flex position. Now, I mentioned before about tweaking the neck. Even though you may feel you have a strong neck, that's cool. I will still ask you to support your head while you're doing this in the beginning, so that if we're making mistakes, we're making small mistakes. Now from here, hips are on the floor. All I'm trying to do is arc my spine up and extend it like this over the roller. Just real slow, and then slowly come back. What I'm looking for here is, again, no tension or pain in the neck, and also in your lower back. Because if your thoracic is real locked up, then your body's going to try and grab some mobility from its next closest neighbor. So for a lot of people, that ends up being the lower back. So if I have a lot of lower back issues, it might be that it's getting squeezed from both ends because this section doesn't move. Same thing happens in the neck. Like, say that my spine doesn't move and I start to try and go back. See what's happening here? That's all neck extension. It might actually feel to me like I'm arcing over the roller, but I'm not. I'm just cranking on my neck. So I'm doing these arcs, and I'll start off small, and I'm going to try and gradually build up. And now as you start to feel you're getting more movement, now focus on your rib cage. So I want you to think about your rib cage actually expanding out and pushing out into the walls and ceiling. So now my rib cage should be getting bigger. And because of how it attaches to the thoracic, that will then improve thoracic mobility. Start thinking of your rib cage not as a cage, but a spring. So I want this to operate like a spring. That's also going to make me a lot more resilient if somebody's, I don't know, bouncing up and down on my rib cage on the mat. So here I'm arcing back, expanding the rib cage. Just like so. In the beginning, I would say do some sets of 5 or 10 reps. Again, don't overdo it. This will make you sore. So if the day after you do this, or 48 hours after, you're like, what happened to my back? It's because you're making a lot of stuff move that maybe hasn't moved that way for a long time. And just to fully illustrate what I'm talking about with the rib cage, here, you should see my right rib cage expanding out, left, and now both. This is not my shoulders going up and down. It's the rib cage expanding out, and so that's what's happening is I'm arcing myself up over the roller. For some of you, if you're super locked up, especially if you're older, like I am apparently, late 30s, 40s, or older, and you're just recently getting into the sport, you might be super locked up, and it might actually take you a few days, even a few weeks, of gradually improving that extension, not going into any pain, before you're able to really get some significant movement over the roller.